servicers.
As good as any.
Yeah.
Okay,
like that.
let's see what's going to be the title of this. But nevertheless, let's jump in. I guess this was already a nice warm up here. So the first item, as we already started, is that of course we need to talk about Metaverse. So let's go around how we all think that what it is. So I can start.
Or should we introduce?
Sorry, jumping in too fast. Of course, Jani, please go ahead. Who you are and how you end up to being you, what you are nowadays.
That's me, by the way, the white guy over here, playing underwater rugby on my free time.
Okay.
But Jani Leskinen. Currently, I'm head of sales in Groke collaboration platform. I have been in XR in Metaverse industry from 2012, when I started my first AR event marketing projects, and after that, different kind of AR, VR, even MR with the HoloLens projects in different companies, and the last 3.5 years now in the Groke collaboration. Going forward with this collaboration platform that we have.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Mikko, I know you have a story to tell, and I don't actually know that well.
Yeah, so my background is I studied in the Tampere University of Applied Sciences. I studied the game production in the business information systems. So basically quite a lot of game programming and game design studies. And from there, I tried the Oculus Rift the development kit first time. And that was when I realized, okay, there's something here. That is, the computing platforms are going to change. So then Intopolo was looking for a VR developer because enterprise was getting slowly interested, and they were ramping up this kind of expertise. So that's when I joined Intopolo, and then eventually worked there as a XR tech lead, and then in Insta Digital as the XR domain lead, working on these augmented and virtual reality projects for the marine, mining, and smart cities industries. And for the last year, I've been working at Groke Technologies. We are developing a product for the marine autonomous technologies. So basically utilizing AI, machine learning, and sensor fusion and augmented reality. So working on this situational awareness product.
Is that kind of a walk the talk thing, that you're not just only talk about these things, but you're actually doing that, like using all that technology? And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I aim to do. So
that's pretty awesome. Cool.
So what about you?
I'm kind of a jack of all trades. I started from the. I don't know if Mikko can't remember this because you're so young, but I guess Jani remembers the first internet wave that hit Finland like back in 2000, like millennium time, when the first, or was it a little bit earlier, when the websites and stuff, it was gonna be a big thing before all the social media stuff. So I was there with other people developing websites and doing all that crazy stuff. And that's kind of a long story short, that after that I end up into different companies like VISU Systems and Tieto and Nokia and Sanoma Media Finland and that kind of stuff. And how this XR actually sneaked into my life was that in the days of Sanoma Media, I also saw those DK1s from Oculus. And I try out those things at the Center Plaza of Sanoma building in Helsinki, and I was like, wow! It was some kind of a roller coaster or something, in the cave or something, and I was like, it was stunning. But the experience, of course, was like pretty with that kind of glasses back in the days. I don't know what
automated motion sickness.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
And I was like, wow, what is that? And at that time already. I had the day job doing the customer experience thing at the Sanoma, but at the same time, during night times, I started to learn about, first of all, which one? Unity, Unreal. So, because I don't consider myself as a developer, so I picked Unreal because it has this visual script and it was really convenient to do something quickly. So I picked that one, and then I started to create something on Oculus, and rest is history. I went to Zone. I was there as a CTO, and I set up my own company called as Netfreak, and currently I'm a head of digital transformation to this Brandt, corporation that actually manufactures boats. So together with Mikko, we are in boat business, sort of. So there we're heavily utilizing all the 3D stuff and also introducing Metaverse as a kind of a showroom. So that's going to be very interesting how to get there. But that's briefly me. Cool. Okay. Now we know who we are, more or less. We have met during the years. Yes.
Here in Finland, with in different types. Well, our projects. I think we have not sort of been in the same project. But our projects have been aligned, more or less, in the history. And I regard you guys more like you are the hands-on guys. You know more about maybe the development itself. I'm the person next to the client, the customers, and I.
You know about business. You know
about that too.
Not just a hobby, but the actual.
Something business. Also about that. But happy to be here with you guys.
Super.
Likewise, both kind of types are needed in this business. It's not only the developers.
That's true. Okay, should we now jump into the first topic of the day? So it's a kind of a mandatory, as I say, that they back in the days, all of three of us, I guess we knew or were talking about, not necessarily about Metaverse, but like something virtual that you're always having your classes on, and you're like within those different kind of worlds, doing this and that with your friends and playing stuff and doing serious B2B stuff, etc. Wasn't necessarily called as Metaverse back in the days, I guess. Maybe this XR acronym, but now everybody's talking about it. And first, my kind of initial kind of a feeling was like, okay, now everybody's talking about it, and but you have to take it like it from the really positive point of view that they, this trending curve where all the different acronyms come and go. It was McKinsey's hype curve.
Gartner.
Exactly. AR and VR, they used to be there like 6 years ago, and woof, they're gone. But AI, machine learning, and data, big data, all that stuff, they kind of flourished. All the business flourished based on those different technologies. But the AR VR was always like a little bit like on the background. It was kind of niche and nice to have technology, and I found personally it's challenging to create together with customers, create very kind of prove that there is value behind these different uses, how you can utilize AR VR, and that time I think now is the time that everybody's talking about it. What are we going to do with these things? And everything is labeled as Metaverse or XR. And what do you think about it? Is it kind of a FOMO, like a fear of missing out something? Is now the moment?
Well, I think that for the past 5 years, all of us have been trying to get people to talk about these things. So in a way, it's a good thing that it's finally happening. And for the businesses, I think if we go a few years back, many companies were doing prototypes. They were doing proof of concepts, but it didn't really go anywhere from there. So lots of these kind of trials and people were excited, but not many actual real world use cases. And now I think we have started to see in those. So there's a clear shift from these proof of concepts to the actual real world use cases. And that's probably why also investors and other people are starting to get interested in the concept of Metaverse, because it's happening.
Yeah, I totally agree that there wasn't a good name for that, or there wasn't a name that everyone was sort of happy to jump in with. Okay, there's not now even because now it's done with the Mark Zuckerberg voice, and not all are happy about that you call this a metaverse because he did it in a large scale. Metaverse as a name has been here for years. Even some company names are metaverse or something like that before, but sort of now the last 3 months, 2 months even, now it has a name, it has a goal, and like you, Mikko, you said there has been these pilots, things and pieces, but now Mark Zuckerberg sort of painted a picture where all these parts are going to. Now we have a place where they are going to, and that gives its a meaning, its value, and the idea where's the goal, where we are taking this. So yeah, but I feel it's totally positive. Is it gonna be metaverse? It's gonna be the word in next 10 years? I don't know, but let's use it now, because now it combines things that all of us have been talking about for years. We have known that there's a place where all this is leading to.
Exactly.
But it didn't have a name, or it didn't have a sort of common name.
That's
now it does. So yeah.
Is this going to be kind of a new ecosystem war, like whether it is going to be Apple Metaverse or Facebook Metaverse or Google Metaverse?
Well, to be honest, I don't think these kind of sealed ecosystems can be called the metaverse. It's like saying the Apple Internet. It's not really doesn't exist. So it will start from companies creating these kind of shared immersed 3D experiences. But if we really think about the concept, what does the term metaverse mean? I think it has to mean this kind of shared technologies, shared platforms that are interoperable in some sense.
Yeah. So what about yourself in your everyday life? Looking forward like 5 years, how do you think that the metaverse could be part of your life? What's the most convenient way to consume metaverse in the future?
Very good question.
I can first tell you guys with my kind of cool. Hey, Akka.
Hi.
Right.
Welcome. So Jaakko from Elomatic, you're our first guest, and what we are actually currently here talking about, we're like trying to describe what is metaverse, and how we all could think of it, how it could be part of our lives, let's say after 5 years. And first of all, briefly, please tell us who you are and where you're from.
Yes. Hi. Jaakko Mattila, as you said, working at Elomatic VISU. It's the visualization and virtualization services within Elomatic. I'm from Finland, from around Turku. Studied in the School of Economics and been in the XR field for my whole professional career now, which is brief, but still. Cool. And yeah, I've had the chance to have a couple of talks in Match XR, the XR event in Finland, a couple of times already, and have had the chance to really dig into what is XR technology. And yeah, now the metaverse thing is very much on the forefront for every one of us. So yeah,
cool. That's right. Before jumping into your specific topic, but do you have some specific topic in your mind that you would to talk with us?
Well, not really. Like virtualization.
Let's have that first.
The term I kind of heard from you the first time, and kind of hijacked this year's.
No worries. That is actually a little bit, I guess, related to, of course, to this Metaverse discussion, what it is. But they thank you and welcome. And briefly, at this point, I need to check that OBS is actually recording.
That would be nice.
Yes, it is recording. Perfect. Super. So, yes.
Don't have to do that again.
I have to wear this kind of classes all the time because I can't remember what's the value of these classes, but it's hard to see far. Can't remember what's the minus something. Yeah. But anyway, that's kind of a fact why I have to wear glasses all the time. So why not utilize this for something, making this my life kind of enriched with augmented reality actually. And I think that personally, that is my kind of a view how it's going to be at least part of my life, the metaverse all the time. That when I go out with a dog, taking him out, do his business, while I'm walking there in the park, I can choose which metaverse or kind of layer of that I'm consuming, meaning that they well using those visuals that stuff is on the street here and there and ads and Facebook and social media friends and whatnot, that then you can like do this kind of a interaction on the air. I think that's going to be at least how I would consume metaverse daily basis, how it's going to be part. It can be very, very little, that some small things are part of here that only very small details of, for example, housekeeping or automated house systems or something. They can have some UI small ones on the top of the button or something, or it can be really rich that it flourishes like in like all different colors and like all the time. But of course, you have to fine tune what's your kind of a way to. Yeah, but that's my view. How it's going to be.
I think you're quite correct in that. For most people, probably AR is going to be the medium that they're going to be using or be immersed in the metaverse. So when comparing VR and AR, maybe VR will be more for specific purposes when you want to immerse yourself completely, and if it's of course good for simulators and games and that kind of things. But what is going to be the medium that you most utilize daily? That's probably the kind of AR
isn't
classes.
It mixed reality, isn't it?
It is, I guess.
Yeah, nobody's using. I guess I don't hear that actually a lot nowadays, like mixed reality, because I guess that is mixed reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
Terms are getting mixed all the time.
I think that might be because of the current technology, because the hardware isn't quite there yet. So at the moment, if you put glasses on, it's gonna be like if you want the full-on audio mixed reality, then it's a audio like headset, and that's not really feasible for everyday consumers. While as the really Ray-Ban kind of AR glasses, that's what consumers are looking for when thinking about the metaverse, if they would like to experience it in the way Sami described, walking around, having all that information all around you, but you don't want to look stupid while doing that.
Sure.
That's one of the biggest social kind of barriers to.
Sure. Jani, you told us earlier that you participated this last event, and then lots of people were talking about metaverse with you, and so could you kindly brief us how you think that this whole thing is connected with you guys? Is your tool part of metaverse?
Yeah, we are the glue that holds the metaverse together. It's not an official slogan, slogan yet.
That's good one. That's good.
But, I think the collaboration platforms in general, collaboration platforms are sort of the thing that people sort of most frequently and understand what the metaverse might be, that you can be in the same virtual space, either with AR, with VR, depending on the use case. But the collaboration itself, and Mikko mentioned that most likely the next years it's going to be like they're going to be different kind of platforms, and exactly like the internet has different kinds of web pages, and
exactly
there's going to be these platforms. How much they're going to interact really depends. Maybe not the Chinese and US ones don't connect so much, but there's a bridge.
Good
different kind of bridges will be built by the third party applications, perhaps, that you can jump from this to that, and even be in the same avatar, be in the same form in this and that also, or change that. And there comes that digital sort of ownership of digital goods, that you want to hold on to them in all of those different kind of platforms that you are using. So it's going to be a mixed bag. Oh, Jesus, these terms, mixed whatever. Yeah, this why it's quite hard to sell this to a customer, because I think we all have sort of an idea what it's going to be, but tell that to someone else.
It's not like we always use the same terms either. But a couple of things about that, like about Clue, about the social collaboration, social side of the metaverse. I do agree that that's probably going to be the one of the first frontiers, because we are living in a social internet now, and that kind of will expand to the metaverse as well. That's a very interesting first step. That's what people are looking for currently from connectivity, connecting with other people. That's meaningful. But there's this, I just want to bring up, it's a huge topic we won't probably cover, but social identity. Like your identity in the metaverse, because when we go to those social environments, 3D with avatars, it's a whole new psychological field to like navigate on. How do you look? How do you represent yourself? You're in a 3D space. What kind of manners and like maneuvers, like non-verbal cues are you giving? Who are you in the metaverse? And that's going to be a like huge, interesting exploration adventure for everyone, kind of delving into that realm.
That's a concept point of view. But if you think from the B2B point of view, Mikko, probably how you guys can make money with Metaverse in your company?
So for us, it's mainly we're using sensor information to create this kind of real-time digital twin. So that's the basic gist of it. So I see that. Well, for now, it's providing then situational awareness for the marine operators, but you can continue that path of thinking until you have basically the whole world mapped out, and you have everything you can see in this virtual twin, everything that is also happening in the real world. So that gives you can train AI with it. You can remote operate machinery or ships or whatever. You can do so many things when you have this kind of real-time digital twin. And I guess that's you mentioned virtualization, so I guess that's going into that topic as well.
Yeah, I'm just googling at the same time that we all know that Metaverse comes from this book. I'm actually googling at the same time, can't remember the name of the book, but the point was that it was 24/7 open, all the time online. So that to me, that means, for example, from our point of view, that could be, well, product showrooms for the product manufacturers like us. So we take our boats there, and people can see those from the different angles and to test drive and configure your own and that kind of stuff, and see dealers network and find some service or something. That's one way to utilize and make business with it. But still, somehow this brings to me to kind of conclusion that is Metaverse, or Metaverse is a new website?
I think that's the thing, that we are going to have these 3D sort of shops. If you now go to the web shop, now it knows that about your cookies and what you have been looking for, and it can sort of suggest that yes, you are now looking for headphones. Next, you will be looking for microphones. So it will show you that most likely you will look for microphones.
Yeah.
But in a virtual web shop, you would just change your gaze somewhere else from the headphones, and you would see over there in a distance, you would see oranges. You would see a Caribbean cruise. You could sort of.
Are they related?
No.
Okay.
But exactly. That's a point that now when you go to the web shopping now in a Black Friday, you have to know what you're looking for.
Yeah. Okay.
In a virtual shop that you can sort of float in space that is filled with
stuff.
Honda boats, airplanes, headphones, oranges, milk. It's but that's what. So you could sort of go back into Prisma type of thing in a general store where you can sort of accidentally find something.
Yeah, it's going to bring like so many of those brick and mortar kind of product placement knowledge back into the digital realm. Like you actually designed not just like the page where a person looks at one product, but you know the whole alley, what they walk through, and how do you place the products around that, and how do you create this personalized like journey for the buyer. And also you're able to bring all those technical details when a person clicks an item and sees what's what, and then you can maybe like, you know, when you have an ingredient, you pop in a recipe, and all the other ingredients float next to that one ingredient you picked.
And also when you consider the products themselves, like now, if you go to a website that sells clothes, it's really hard to try them on. But in the metaverse, you could actually see your avatar wearing those clothes, and it's
Mikko, by the way, what's your opinion? What's going to be the kind of a metaverse lamp stack? What's going to be the kind of a tech stack of the metaverse? I've been thinking about that like a couple of times. That if I need to set up one, can I set up it in Amazon AWS or something? What's your view on that?
Yeah, that's a super good question, because in the end, we probably want some decentralization happening. So then comes the blockchains and everything. It might not be viable that the metaverse exists just in for example, Amazon servers, because it wouldn't. For most use cases, it wouldn't work like that. So some kind of decentralization technology combined with this, what I mentioned, this interoperability. Similar that we have, for example, if you consider the TCP, UDP, HTTP protocols in the internet. So we need to have those kind of protocols for the metaverse.
Yeah, I think like in that regard, the whole kind of metaverse is a 3D internet, is a like good storyline and that good narrative, in the sense that technologically, I feel like with the metaverse, the kind of infrastructure on the back end is going to be very similar with the protocols and such to that of the internet.
Would imagine that or at least to me, the first thing that comes to my mind is the kind of a fact that there's going to be multiple metaverses. There are going to be metaverses, meaning that those bubbles need to interact. And that means APIs. So there needs to be some common way to communicate between these different, and also let consumers to fluently move from one to another. Yeah. Or I don't know how the navigation would happen, but nevertheless, like bringing those apples and oranges around you, and boats, but they can be from different metaverses.
I feel like. The way I would like describe that is like there would be one metaverse, and those 3D spaces would be spaces within that metaverse. The metaverse being kind of that protocol, that kind of standardization that is behind it, that governs it all. And that's kind of where the discussion is, like, who owns the metaverse? No one should like own that protocol. It should be open. It should be something anyone can work with. And then you can build your spaces on top of that metaverse. And then we have those like most popular spaces, just like we have in the internet.
Yeah.
Like,
so Jaakko, about the virtualization you've been talking about, how this relates to metaverse? How is the kind of a virtualization subset of metaverse? How it goes?
Well, yeah, that's kind of a thing that.
And what is virtualization, by the way, in the first place?
That's kind of what I where I want to kind of take 3D visualization, 3D interaction, kind of separate that from digitalization, while they are strongly connected. So you have digitalization, you have all that information we've been creating for decades now, and then now we're kind of stepping into a new realm where 3D is becoming more and more relevant. And that's why I want to talk about virtualization and virtual twins as well, because I feel like in the kind of industrial setting, digital twins, they're already a thing that no one knows how to buy, because no one knows like what the whole thing is, because it consists of so many like types of data, so much mathematics, so much IoT data flows and connectivity and all these different technologies and infrastructure, that it's its own thing. And to simplify the kind of, let's make a 3D model that you can interact with to access that digital twin data. That's why I've kind of wanted to call it a virtual twin. So you have the 3D and the interactivity that you use to access the digital twin. So they're connected. And the way I see it, it's like a iceberg. Virtual twin is the kind of part you can see and interact with that connects to this.
You mean like putting like newbie terms like me, that it's real but it's virtual.
That's a very nice way of putting it, because as you said, there are these BIM models in the construction and engineering, and they might mean just this kind of almost spreadsheets of information that is happening.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, like, I don't know if it's easier for the people to learn a new term again and again and again, or to try to understand these huge terms, but I think it's easier to just.
What's your kind of approach with your customers at the Elomatic, that they how you sell this to customers, B2B customers?
Well, in B2B and also like I rather talk about virtualization than the metaverse, because there's the whole connectivity and that side, the kind of internet of 3D spaces that I feel like B2B side, like industrial engineer design kind of world is kind of far away from, because there we refine the kind of technical details. And the way we approach these is that, like for us, because virtual is always 3D, and you need that 3D raw material. And in engineering world, that's CAD files. And so we kind of approach this by, okay, you have this 3D information. How well can you utilize that? Because CAD files are huge, and there's a lot of technical information, and you don't want to give that to anyone because of that technical information within. So you can't share it just like that. So taking that 3D CAD file and creating it to various versions of a virtual 3D model that you can actually share and utilize in various use cases. That's kind of the point of view, and naming those use cases, like using AR on the field, using VR in design reviews and such. Like that's the way we usually approach it.
Super.
I have been preaching a little with my customers about the digital sort of the raw material that you have, and exactly you have the term for that virtualization. That the tip of the iceberg that you can actually see. You have to sort of optimize it. You have to sort of make it usable in whatever use case that might be, and that's a huge task, and we all have work on that, and yeah.
So what do you think, will 3D models become more important now for companies? So if you have a product, now people are thinking, okay, where is our 3D model for that, or CAD model?
Yes, definitely, because that's because AR and VR have made it possible for everyday people to understand 3D, because not everyone understands 3D from a 2D screen.
Yesterday, or blueprint, yeah.
Which
blueprint, just a print.
Yeah.
It's hard for some people, harder for some people than
like
others.
Dimensions, it's hard to figure out. Are there going to be lots of space for my legs in this car based on the pictures?
So if I'm buying a house, for example, should I start requesting, so where's the 3D model for this?
Exactly. Why not?
360 photos for sure should be like a done deal these days in real estate, and well, they have the 3D model when they like look at the piping and stuff. And if you're interested in how does the electricity work behind the walls, like how are you going to see it through the walls if not with a 3D model? So it is relevant.
I had to create a digital twin of our apartment for the kitchen renovation project, and also renovation other things. And now it's there, and every time when we need to go and see that, okay, how much floor material we're going to buy and how it's going to look there and there, we're always thinking this digital twin and take a look at it. It's easier to visualize.
How can anyone ask you to make that design? Why did you not get that 3D model?
Yeah. That is something that should be exactly. This is rather new. This was built in 2008, but nevertheless, at that time, these kind of things weren't. Nobody talked about these things that day.
So what do you think? One question related to that. So when we see new buildings, new apartments done, and they are being sold on the internet. So quite a lot of times you can only see the blueprints and the floor plan, basically, or maybe some rendered sketches. But wouldn't it be rather easy to start creating those kind of 3D?
And I have a kind of experience for that kind of things. That I know that what happens in different companies from that area, and actually they are thinking really distance things already, like very futuristic things. Not futuristic, but like it's reality for us, of course, that those things could be done. And they are already there, that they are digital twins of different buildings, etc. But for some reason, they are not kind of a KPIs when consumers are considering what's going to be the next apartment that are going to buy. And there is no kind of a section where the market says, hey, by the way, this is also available in digital twin. I'm like, okay, why? If I'm a kind of a everyday guy somewhere.
But as always, new things should be introduced to a niche that finds value in it before it's developed to that point where it can be scaled up super cheaply. So investors, real estate investors, the people that want to know not just how it looks. That's one part of it. That's how they're going to sell it to the basic consumers.
Exactly.
But they want to know the risks and manage all that information. And for them, that's just easier decision making when you provide that information in 3D and there's all the technical details. They need to dig through anyways and need to hunt down that information. So you're just making it harder for your buyer to gain that information that they need before making that investment. Anyways, if they are calculating very carefully which apartment should they buy to get the best profit.
Exactly. Okay. Let's move on. We're running out of time, but nevertheless, we if we put all these different acronyms into one silo or box called as Metaverse, like XR, VR, AR, and etc. I don't know whether it was Jani or Mikko who did these figures of XR business and market, size of the market. 2016 it was 6 billion, 17 it was 9 billion, 21 this year it's going to be 30 billion, next year 55, but then 2024 almost 300 and later on 800 billion. I guess this is US dollars. So is that money coming from consumer business or B2B business?
It's both, of course. I think currently the enterprise business is driving the development forward. As you can see, for example, what Vario is doing and what, for example, Magic Leap have pivoted away from the consumer business towards the enterprise business. So that's where the money is at the moment. But slowly we are starting to see more and more in the consumer side as well. For example, how Oculus Quest or now Meta Quest, they have been sold now over 10 million units. So I think Zuckerberg said at some point that we need 10 million users in VR before
it mainstream.
It's made.
I agree. I agree on that. But it's both. The money comes from both the directions. And during the next few years and few years back, it has come from the business to business side. But now, like you, Mikko, you said, now these devices will come out. There will be more than just Quest 2s in the next few years, and that will drive the sort of the home usage more. And of course, that goes between your home and your work, so you can use the same device for both.
Cool.
Yeah, that's for me. I feel like that's a tough question. Like obviously it is both, but I somehow feel like the consumer side will be bigger, because at the moment I think on the industry side you have use cases where you can get like 80% like more efficient processes using XR, and that's amazing. Like the benefits are very clear, but they're usually for specific use cases that are a small part of the whole. So they will be a technology that pushes that 2 to 3%, maybe 5% of business growth in coming years in industrial businesses as well. But I just I have two reservations about that. How big is the full potential of like XR in enterprise before we start hitting the consumer market as well? Plus conservative industries like paper and pulp, for example, they're starting to use tablets, and because that's kind of a leap for them. They're ready to take that step forward. So like XR, it will take time before enterprises are confident enough to move from these proof of concepts to like really make it a norm in business processes, because they cannot fail with the technology in mass scale, because they have such valuable business on the background that cannot take a hit because they're trying out something new.
And one thing that I think that is currently like challenging for especially for the smaller companies is the price. They think that the creative things cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
But we need to prove that different.
Yeah, it is its whole new thing, because there is the XR devices and then there's the 3D content. And 3D content, like before that becomes like super cheap, like any other content there is, we need know-how and we need technology to create those libraries and people that know how to navigate those like really quickly to create that 3D website for you, just like that, just as easily as you can make a 2D website these days. So that's when it becomes viable for even the small businesses.
About that, actually, so do you think that we have currently do we have enough developers to develop the metaverse, or do we need to heavily ramp up the knowledge as well?
It's interesting, because I think the metaverse will truly happen when consumers start creating the like content, and before consumers become fluent in 3D, that might be the next generation becoming the like super artists.
That's really good point, by the way. Like in social media, users create the content.
Yeah.
So is it going to be
creating?
So in the metaverse, are the companies created content or the consumers? What's your bet? Which it's going to be?
I would love to. In AR, I think consumers will start creating social media stories quite quickly, either using GPS location based or ready-made 3D libraries. and combining those 3D elements. And to that we can get quite quickly, because there is already, because of games, there's already huge amounts of assets, 3D assets that exist out there. So we're not that far from user created content, but user created 3D objects, that's going to be a different that's probably going to be professional all the way, but content is definitely pretty close.
Yeah, I think you're quite right. There are some examples when you think about, for example, Roblox. It's pretty much user driven. The whole how the social interactions and everything is created, and I guess there are also starting to be these kind of simpler engines or platforms. What do you call them? Like Snap Studio? Is it Studio? You mean create these kind of AR lenses and and everything, like custom face filters, and I think Unity had this. I haven't used it actually, but this more simpler platform for creating AR experiences.
Not this.
It was Forma.
Okay, Facebook has this, or Meta has this Spark AR.
Yeah. Spark
we use
AR
that back in the days a lot. Let's say
that's one of them. Yeah. So many of these that are not as deep as the game engines, for example, Unity and Unreal Engine, and this kind of more involved SDKs, but definitely easier to use.
And it might be that what consumers consider interesting and make it their lives richer could be actually less than what we think. We are always like aiming like it needs to have an RTX 3090 GPU and something, but people actually are happy with the Snapchat filters.
Yes.
Hey, cool. We need to wrap up. And
we need to continue in the next phase.
We need to, because we have this amount of different topics we didn't have time to go through. But the single last things, each of us, Jaakko, what do you expect from the future? Where is this all going to?
I expect 3D everywhere. That's pretty much. I expect that people will learn how valuable 3D information is, and we will take this information from the screen, we will rip it out, and we will throw it out there and go chase after it. Actually, not sitting down, but standing up and still interacting with that digital world through virtual objects, and that will be amazing.
Cool. What about Mikko?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I completely agree. It's like staring things all day from this versus that I could use the whole space that I have available and truly being immersed in everything I do. I think that's going to be the way. Having said that, I think we'll see the 2D use cases for 3D as well. Seeing more of that in just general applications for PCs and mobile phones. So just seeing more of the 3D content on those screens as well. That's going to be
true,
quite big.
True. What about Jani?
Well, the future, it's hard to predict, right? You guys are right on the 3D world, and I would say that the sort of the use cases that just a simple one. I want to book a hotel room. I would want to go virtually into that hotel room before I travel. And I would like to go into the room and see, okay, this fits for me and my family. What is the view outside this window here? Okay, actually, I want the next level, the next floor, the same room in the next floor, because I can see the sea from there.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to pay premium on that floor and that room, but I can't do that. I can't book a hotel room which I want. I book a room in a hotel and I get what I get.
Yeah,
and that's crazy. And that's crazy because I could actually, I could go into that room, look from the window and buy that view that I wish to buy. And that's, I want these kind of, to me it sounds really easy with the current tech. But yeah, let's see. But that's my future. I want to go to the hotel that I have visited in virtual world first.
It's a great example. There are tons of.
Sami,
well,
what's yours?
My view is that the twofold. First of all, as I said, nobody's know how this is gonna end. It's not to be. It's not how this famous Finnish ski jumper says that the life is best time of the people to be alive is the life itself. But nevertheless, we'll see after a couple of years how this all end up. But what I expect in a short term is that we have already amazing technology, all these different things, all different concepts and stuff. But we are the ones who need to stop, and we are all helping companies and individuals to understand how to utilize this in their businesses or everyday life, and how to make their life better in so many different ways. So that's how it must be. So we're kind of a list of this topic together, and that is what needs to be happen right now.
Yeah. I agree. I do agree that we need to start talking about stuff they are interested about, not the stuff we are interested
exactly.
about.
Yeah. It's something different.
Yeah.
Good. Hey, thanks, Mikko, Jani, Jaakko.
Thank you.
And next time something different. We'll see later what's that. But that's all. And we're gonna wrap this up and do some kind of a list of things and. Guys, if you have links related to these topics, send me. I'm gonna put it to the end of the video, so viewers can have it, and possibly our email addresses or something if people want to come back to us and talk more about this thing. So feel free to go ahead. So thank you. See you.
Thank you. Yeah, very nice conversation.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye.
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 Cut.